Hi everyone, how's it going? So today we are going to go on a journey that I am calling my coffee jelly redemption arc, because if you remember in the last couple of videos, specifically the 5-minute crafts videos, we've run into coffee jelly several times, or at least a version of coffee jelly. So today I thought we would do the delicious drink justice and actually make it for realsies this time. Anyways, before we jump into that, I do also want to note that I have added an apron back into my wardrobe. This is a new apron that I actually launched recently as part of a merch line. We have all sorts of fun stuff like hoodies and cropped hoodies and t-shirts and all sorts of fun things that are either in the beans design or the oat milk latte design. So if you are interested in perhaps checking them out, you can see them at mdcdrip.com, or I'll have it linked in the description below. Okay, enough of that, let's make some coffee jelly. Now, just to remind you what happened last time, previously when we made coffee jelly, we used a combination of gummy bears, water, and instant coffee, and then we also used pudding, which, yes, that was my fault, egg on my face, but you'll be very happy to know that this time I have procured for myself gelatin packets. So we're going to be using the real stuff, and we will also be using these very cute heart-shaped molds I found at IKEA. Anyways, moving on, let us make coffee jelly. The first thing we're going to do is, of course, get our coffee started. I'm going to brew a slightly more concentrated version of drip coffee than I usually would because I want the flavor to really come through in this coffee jelly. So just get it started. We're going to ultimately be using 1 cup of coffee. So however you prefer to brew coffee, you want to end up with 1 cup, which is approximately 8 ounces. Now, while the coffee is brewing, you're going to want to start blooming your gelatin. So get your packet and then measure out 1 tablespoon of gelatin for this recipe. After you dump it into a bowl, you're going to want to add a 1/4 cup of cold water and then whisk it up so at least most of those lumps have all separated and smoothed out. Then take it over to the stove, and as soon as your coffee is done brewing, bring over 1 cup of hot coffee. Additionally, we're going to be adding a tablespoon of granulated sugar to our mixture to sweeten up our coffee jelly just a little bit. Now, pour all of your ingredients into a saucepan over medium heat and then just start whisking. Ultimately, we want to entirely incorporate and melt down the sugar and the gelatin so we have one very smooth, very nice one-toned mixture. After that, we're going to let it cool briefly, and then it is going to be time to transfer into our mold. So after you've waited about 5 minutes and it is slightly more cool to the touch, it doesn't have to be completely cool, we're going to start transferring. Again, I'm using these heart-shaped molds, which ultimately turned out to be a little bit tricky, but you know what, they're cute, and if you want to use an ice tray or just a regular tray, go for that too. So let's stick it into the freezer, let it cool for a bit, and you can pause, and if you want to change outfits like I'm going to do, you can do so. Also, during this little break, you have plenty of time to go do that chore you've been putting off, or pet your cat, or watch an episode of Haikyuu, because you have approximately 25 minutes until we'll need to pull the coffee jelly out of the freezer. Before we finally pull it out, I am going to do one last thing, which is making up our sweet whipped cream topping for this delicious treat. For it, you will need whipping cream, measure out however much you want to make, and then add a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla paste, and then I'm adding 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. I adjusted it slightly later on, but measure to your heart, it's whatever sweetness you like to have. And then start whipping it up. Now, we don't want this to be super stiff peaks, we still want this whipped cream to have some sort of movement to it. So as you can see with my spoon, it does have some solid texture, but also it's just not super stiff. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, now that we have this all done, I think it's about time to assemble and pull our coffee jelly out of the freezer. Now, I was very pleased that this time it did fully set up, but I did kind of leave myself in kind of a scramble with these molds because it's very difficult to pull it out in the heart shape that it's supposed to be. However, that being said, as far as I'm concerned, that is a nice looking coffee jelly. So once I kind of figured out my rhythm with using a spoon, I was able to peel all the rest of them out of the molds and then set them out on a plate, and really admire the fact that I am not using gummy bears for this stinking recipe. And for the first time in 1 month, we have made nice, jiggly, regular looking coffee jelly. Okay, time to assemble. So I have got myself a really nice glass here that I'm just going to layer up with about half of my recipe of coffee jelly, and then I'm going to spoon on a healthy dollop of our whipped cream mixture on top. And there we go. That is a delicious looking coffee jelly, and of course we have to do our final taste with our big fancy spoon. And how was it, you might ask? Well, personally, I think this is delicious. The texture between the 2 ingredients is super nice. You have the nice chill from the whipped cream, and you also have this fun kind of jelly, gelatinous texture of the coffee jelly, and I think it goes great together. Now, I even had to go run over and make my partner try this because I thought it was great, and thankfully he liked it too. So now I think I can finally say that you can stop bullying me, I can stop bullying me, and I think we have finally figured out how to make coffee jelly once and for all. Will I ever be making this again? I don't know, but it was fun to do once. It's a very delicious treat, and it's super easy if you want to try it yourself. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day. This is a fun short video, and I will see you later. Okay, have a great day. Goodbye.